Okay, so you want to build a personal curriculum, but the problem is how? And most importantly, what should I not be doing? And let me tell you here first, a curriculum isn't an ambitious reading list, which many people are doing. They are finding every single reading source that they want to read and chuck them together and call it a syllabus, which is not a syllabus, by the way. So let me tell you what it is. A curriculum isn't just a list of things that you want to know. It is supposed to be a sequence designed in such a way that each things you learn makes the next thing learnable, or essentially building from the ground up. And that is a completely different skill from just chucking different reading sources together. And nobody teaches this as much to people who aren't teachers, which is kind of insane because most of the time you're constantly learning, and in your head you're just creating syllabus after syllabus, and you are just doing it so badly because you're just not taught how to do it. And let me give you an analogy to think of how you should be creating a syllabus. So chess grandmasters don't memorize every single rule of chess or every single moves in chess, and that's for a reason, because well, they're human and it is physically impossible to memorize every single move. But more importantly is that they are prioritizing which part of chess to memorize, mostly openings, because openings aren't just a single move or like a single set of moves. They're actually a whole entire structure that tells you what to develop, what to prioritize, and what not to touch until they are ready. Okay, so maybe this can involve like developing the knight before the bishop, castling early, really claiming the center of the chessboard, and anything that can help you set up to good middle and end game. And that's the whole idea of a syllabus. It is really a sequence where each thing earns the next thing. And what is wrong with so many people's quote-unquote curriculum is that they have no center within it. There's no concept that really anchors every single other idea that they wishes to explore. And as a result, everything just starts floating everywhere. And additionally, they do not sacrifice anything. There's no decision about what you deliberately want not to study. Because if you want to study everything, you are essentially cluttering your whole entire curriculum and cluttering your whole entire learning process. As a result, you start getting confused and you don't learn anything as well. And lastly, there's no sequence, which means you do not understand why certain things should come before them. So for example, you do not understand why certain fundamental concepts should come before other fundamental concepts. And as a result, you get confused, and that is not what you want for a personal curriculum. Okay? Essentially, this whole idea is that you have the ingredients, but you just don't have the recipe to effectively execute your learning process. So we are gonna fix it in 3 moves, which is 1, pick a center. We really need a concept that is able to anchor everything down. So for example, if you want to learn something in economics, maybe not learn every part of economics first. Maybe learn the idea of firm behaviors, or if you want to go broad, you can learn the macroeconomy and how it works, maybe exchange rates or something like that. Then center a lot of your ideas around that concept. Then 2, sequence for dependence. So what do you need to understand before you can understand the next thing? So maybe if you want to understand firm decisions, you need to understand consumer behavior, or do you need to understand the idea of scarcity or anything else? Then 3, you need to understand sacrifice. You need to cut some things, okay? Cut things that does not center around this whole, your anchorage point. Because if it creates fluff, then everything gets chaotic and you don't learn anything, okay? Those things go into the waiting list and possibly your future syllabus, just not this syllabus, okay? And now you have a curriculum. If you like more content like this, subscribe and follow my Instagram. Yeah, bye.